Turning now to the race for governor and a look at the candidates, which we've been doing all year long. We are joined today by Peter Lumaj. He is 50 years old. He's an attorney from Fairfield, emigrated from Albania, and was the 2014 GOP nominee for Secretary of the State. Mr. Lumaj, thank you for coming back on
Thank you
Faces
for
Day.
having me.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
We were just talking in the previous segment, as you know, about Andrew McDonald, the governor's choice for Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Should Republicans vote to confirm him?
I don't think they should. When you look at his background, what happened is that he was promoted because of the Malloy administration, which was a favor that the governor is returning to this guy. If he had the legal qualifications to become the Chief Justice of our state, I wouldn't have any problems with that. But the more you look into his background, actually, the more concerned we as citizens should get with this guy.
Senator Duff said last week in this program that Republicans are anti-gay. Are Republicans anti-gay? Would you nominate a gay justice?
I don't think that has anything to do with his sexual orientation. I think that's ridiculous. I've been part of the Republican Party since I, became an American citizen. And if I were to realize that the Republican Party is anti-anything but being pro-American, I wouldn't be part of this party to begin with. So I think that's ridiculous.
Also last week in the program, we had Tim Herbst, who's one of the fellow Republicans running for governor along with you. And he predicted a three-way primary with Tim Herbst, Mark Boughton, and a third person he would not name. Is that going to be you?
Most likely it's not going to be Tim Herbst. No, I'm just joking about it. But I don't know what's going to happen with the primary. There's going to be a primary, and I don't think I have any prediction right now, but we do stand at over 15% of the delegates based on our numbers. I think the primary is going to be a healthy way of getting a nominee, a strong nominee for the Republican Party. Hartford right now is devoid of leadership. You need a conservative with the credentials, the backbone, the character, and the fortitude to go to Hartford and dismantle that mentality.
You mentioned conservative. There are some people who say that you are too conservative for Connecticut. In fact, the chairman of the Democratic Party, Nick Boletto, said the only difference between you and President Trump is the color of your hair.
Well, he's concerned because everything that the president is doing actually is turning into a success, and the Democrats and the liberals, especially, they don't want to see the president of the United States succeed, and they know that conservatism works. The problem with conservatism is that the way the media and the liberals defined it, it's something that has become, a word that shouldn't be used. But conservatism is constitutionalism, is giving people the opportunity to succeed, to create wealth, to get a job, to prosper in our society. The biggest threat to the Democrat Party is prosperity, because if people become prosperous, the Democrat Party becomes obsolete. And that's why they are creating dependency. The entire party, Democrat Party, is based on three groups. They want the illegals, they want people who are dependent on the government, and the criminals. Do they talk about the middle class? Do they talk about anyone else that is involved that is part of our society? They want to see these cities fail, and the cities have been under their control for the past 30, 40 years. And tell me one city in our state that is under their control that is prospering.
Connecticut has not had a conservative governor in a long, long time. I can't even mention the last one. It's been decades. What kind of things would you change if you're elected governor? How would a conservative govern Connecticut?
Common sense conservative principles. That's what you need. You start by reversing the state income tax for anyone who's making less than $100,000 a year. Then you go to state agencies and you cut them 14% so that you and I can save $1.3 billion. Every state agency that passes one regulation should repeal 4. The cutting of the state agencies shouldn't apply to the law enforcement. The other ones should be downsized 14%. Then you go to the mandates that are coming from Hartford, which are suffocating business in our state. What happened in our state for the past 20 years, I would say, instead of having laissez-faire capitalism, we do have a combination of a coordination of these political activities and financial activities between big companies, big corporations, and the government officials. We're going to have to do away with that. We're going to have to allow people to create jobs, businesses to move back into our state so that we can prosper again.
You came to America. You emigrated here from Albania many, many years ago when you were young.
Yeah.
And yet some say that you're really tough on those who are facing deportation in our state, that you don't have any sympathy for them. Do you support these deportations that the Trump administration has been ordering?
I think it's a misnomer. The Trump administration is going after the criminals, people who came illegally to the United States. I came legally. I waited online. I went to a refugee camp for 9 months. I was fingerprinted. I was subjected to background investigation. I chose to come to the United States and become an American. What the Trump administration is doing, he's talking about people who who have committed crimes and are part of the sanctuary cities, living in the sanctuary cities, it pays to be illegal in our state right now. The Democrats are offering greater benefits to illegal immigrants in our state than they are offering to citizens. Right now, if you're illegal, you have sanctuary cities, you have a driver's license, you get in state tuition, and we're introducing a bill to give them state aid. Whereas your kids and my kids, if they would move from another state into our state to attend, let's say, UConn, they will pay out-of-state tuition. We're rewarding failure, or rewarding people who are violating the law and breaking the law and punishing American citizens. That is not fair to the American citizens. And that's why I agree with Trump, because he's putting America first, he's putting you and I first, and he's thinking about the American citizenry instead of the illegals.
You have a couple mayors in our in our state, Luke Bronin of Hartford, Tony Harp of New Haven, both proudly say we have sanctuary cities.
And which one of us would move to those cities? Those cities are a failure. Everything that the Democrats have been doing is turned into a failure. Hartford itself is at the verge of declaring bankruptcy. You think about Hartford, not even 100 years ago, one of the richest cities in the United States. Who's been running it? It is the Democrats. The Democrats are still rewarding failure because they need that kind of dependency.
As you know, a woman from Albania who emigrated here illegally, Donata Rondo, owns a restaurant in Cheshire. She barely escaped deportation, but she could face it again in the future. What should the government do with her?
Look, I'm not aware of the facts of that case, and I'm pretty sure that she was given the chance to go through the due process, just like everybody else. And if she is deportable, the law applies evenly to everyone in our state, in our nation.
You've said a few things that people have been questioning. Number one, you would like to sell the governor's mansion.
Yes.
Which might bring in, what, $1 million maybe?
Yes.
Why?
Look, we have to start to lead by example. What we have to do with Hartford, everything that Hartford right now is doing, it's hurting you and I. It's hurting the middle class. It's hurting the citizens. It's prevented us from creating jobs, from creating wealth, from establishing equity. Now, Hartford itself, the mentality that is established in Hartford for the past 15, 20 years, it is working against the middle class. It is working against the citizenry. So lead by example by getting rid of the government mansions, cutting down the spending in Hartford, cutting down state agencies, and that will give the people out there, the voters out there, the hope that we need, because we're losing hope in our state. Our kids are going to other states to get an education, and they are not moving back into our states again. They are losing hope. We don't need that. We cannot afford that.
Many folks, including the mayor in your neighboring city of Bridgeport, would like to see a casino go there. They want MGM to be able to build one, yet they can't because of the way that the setup is in our state, that the Indian tribes have the monopoly, if you will, on building a casino in our state. Do you think that should change?
I think that the Democrats will try to find a way of doing that because they are very good at, trying to evade and avoid enforcing the law properly. But I don't think we should, for the sake of generating more revenue, have a casino or legalize marijuana for that matter. But if we get to the point that the General Assembly analyzes this properly and puts it in front of the governor to sign it, he's the governor, he's going to have to make that decision until we remove him from there.
So you're opposed to marijuana?
I am.
Tolls?
I am.
Completely.
Anything that places a burden on the citizens, whether it's a tax or a fee that we're paying, it is not helping us to return to prosperity again. From 1992 to present, we have collected $126 billion from the state income tax, yet we are $62 billion in debt. The other thing is this: we have lost one congressional district, we're losing population, services are not any better. The question is, where did the money go? Is this crony capitalism working? We have to go back to laissez-faire capitalism, what we deserve and what the founding fathers wanted us to have.
Peter Lumaj, candidate for governor, Republican, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thank you very much for having me.
When we come, thanks to see you. When we come back, our flashback will take you back 50 years ago this week. What were Channel 3 viewers watching on their Sunday political show? We'll show you coming up. And we welcome your comments. You can tweet me, find me on Instagram or Facebook.